Hola. Happy
Hola.
Wednesday. We got Kevin, Skylabs Audio, joining
What's
us today
happening? What's happening? I'm really excited to be here, man.
on a Wednesday. It's hump
Oh
day,
no,
Kevin.
it is.
What do you got going on behind you there? You got
I'm actually I'm in the tattoo shop next door because my buddy Jared isn't coming in today, and it's a nice quiet spot as opposed to being in the shop with people walking around and stuff.
very nice. I thought maybe
Yeah,
you were a hunting enthusiast. We didn't know about it.
I'm at Ted Nugent's cabin.
Oh, very nice. What do you have over your
Mhm.
left or your right shoulder there? What is that? Is that a coyote?
Dude, I don't know.
Chupacabra?
Probably he actually wins blue ribbons like every single year. The
At the
guy is
Iowa State Fair or what?
no nationals. Yeah, no, he probably does do the fair too, but
Blue ribbons.
yeah, blue ribbons, tattoo artist, taxidermist, strange person,
That sounds like a very interesting person, actually.
very interesting. Yeah, how's it going, Randy?
It's going well, man. How you
Good,
doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, we're having a good season, holiday season, and yeah, everything's good.
You selling some stuff?
Yeah, doing good. Yeah, it's
Very
been a good
nice.
year.
Very nice. All right, we got some folks coming in. Chris is from Chicago. It's probably getting nice and chilly up there. Juan, this is the best holiday. Hobby. Sorry, I thought you said holiday. Juan Carlos. It is a fun hobby for sure. We got Malaysia, Kula Diamond. Love Malaysia. Had a great time in Penang last year. Midland, Texas. You ever been to Midland?
You talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
No. Uh-uh.
Never been to Midland, Odessa?
No, I've been to Texas a couple times, but
Not that way.
I went to a wedding once in a dry county,
Yeah.
and the odd thing is we went to go get some beer and stuff because it was a wedding, of course. And at the next county's border, you had a drive-through liquor shop.
Nice. Yeah, of
So
course. Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Across the street, it's totally illegal. On the other side of the street, you could literally drive through, order a cocktail, and they'd hand it to you.
Okay. So I got a story similar, but not. So when I was growing up in Nebraska, bottle rockets were illegal, right?
Yeah.
Now in Kansas, you could go buy bottle rockets, and you could also buy inch and a halfers is what we called them. They were little fireworks like black cats.
Sure.
So my dad would drive us, and right across the Kansas border was a pop-up fireworks stand. So he would drive us down there, and we would smuggle in bottle rockets back into Nebraska
Isn't that crazy? It's the same. Yeah, it's
every July.
same way here. We have to go to Missouri up until a couple of years ago where they started allowing it for 1 week. But, nothing like loading up the family and filling your car with explosives.
Yeah.
So it's not illegal.
That's right.
Yeah.
In a old Ford F-150.
Yeah, with no
That's all
seatbelt.
that's rusting. That. No, dude, I don't think. Well, I think we maybe had seatbelts, but we never used them.
We had a van that didn't come stock with seatbelts.
Yeah.
So if you got pulled over in it, the cops would just say, "Yeah, you're what do they call
good
it? Grandfathered in." Yeah,
you're grandfathered in. That's right.
totally. Yeah.
David just told my wife about Sparkos op amps for Christmas. She said, "What? What's your opinion on that? You played around with op amps?"
Man, I haven't done it. It sounds like you put those in a jewelry box and hand it to yeah.
That's what you do. It's a jewelry box.
I haven't gotten into DAX. I haven't gotten into op amps. I like my Class A, Class AB amplifiers. I do realize there's a whole new world out there.
Oh yeah, you need to get into it, man.
That's why I hear. Yeah.
Explore it. It's fun.
Man, I don't have time. That's the problem.
Stop.
Time. No. I'm on another realm of, work, not healthy, that type of thing.
Yeah, you stressing yourself out?
Of course.
Yeah.
But
well, tell me, you're not just vintage. You're now selling and have sold new equipment, Audio Technica. Go through a couple of the brands that you have.
Audio Technica, which we've carried for a long time. Advanced Paris is a newer one. Wharfdale. We do have a few TX turntables. Um, Cambridge
Yeah,
is,
don't forget Cambridge.
yeah. The advanced Paris, though, honestly, right now, as far as the product that's really outselling everything is advanced Paris. I mean, we sell a lot of advanced Paris.
Yeah,
It's good. It's a great product. You don't even have to sell
you're welcome.
it. Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm kidding. I
No,
think
no, you're right.
I think I have linked your stuff because I don't really have a good advanced Paris link. And by the way, for all the people that think I'm a shill and just getting a bunch of, I don't even get affiliate revenue on advanced Paris. Not
You,
that I
you
don't
know,
want to. I would love to
you,
get affiliate revenue on advanced Paris, but
you know what's sad though is you probably have referred people to us. I found two people because Ed uses our affiliate links as well. And, just from talking to the customer, I found out that, they were brought to us from Ed. And, I definitely gave him, his commission and whatnot. But I got a feeling more people are that you're sending people to us and you're not being credited. So,
Topher John
sorry.
says, I'm making China great again. Well, what can I do? I don't control where it's manufactured at, but
Well, how can you buy anything that doesn't have, you
I
know,
think that's actually a pretty good joke though. Making China great again. I don't think they need my help. I would love it if Advanced Paris was made in Paris or if Advanced Paris was made in Atlanta, but it's not. Neither
but
is
here's
Cambridge. Neither is Marantz.
no.
Neither is anybody else.
The
Um,
only brands in the United States that are, making product here are also direct to consumer.
yeah,
And that really that's not good for the whole industry anyway, because this is a product that you need to sit in front of, you need to touch it, you need to hear it. And when you're going direct to consumer, people aren't getting that option. And I mean, I get it. You can't compete and have dealerships if you are manufacturing in the United States only. So, it's one or the other, unfortunately.
yeah. I think the coolest thing though is that there's a lot of people have some really liberal return policies at this point.
You
So
have to.
you you can try it out, and that's what I would encourage everyone to do.
Well, here's the thing though, if it's a small piece, yes, but to a 20-year-old something, a 20 something, if, it's hard for them to order two Wharfdale speakers,
Oh no, I
you know,
get it for sure.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Even though it's free returns and you do get to try it, there's still a lot of effort involved
yeah.
on their
But
part. Whereas,
yeah, what are the alternatives though? Because like you grew up in Iowa, right? I grew up in
yeah.
Nebraska.
Mhm.
All right, I didn't get to go listen to anything.
No, you didn't?
I got to look at it. I mean, occasionally, but I was in furniture stores and places like that. So, it wasn't like I was sitting down and like actively. My point is like even today, even with a hobby, I think doing fairly decent. I'm in Dallas, Fort Worth. It's like 8 million people, metro area. And we have two, three, maybe four hi-fi stores in the entire metro.
And I think it's going to get worse too. But we had a couple here in town, Stereo Sound Studios, um, Audio Labs, still around. You go and listen to Magnapans. They'd put on Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon. You'd listen to the bells and the chimes go around the room, but it's not normal anymore, that's for sure.
Lenny Florentine, we have some YouTube royalty in the house. Do you know Lenny?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Lenny's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. Why
Um,
is he in here?
I don't know. He's just hanging out, I guess. He's watching YouTube on a Wednesday morning. Uh, if you're not subscribed to Kevin over at Skylabs or to Lenny, you need to go and subscribe. You've been killing it on YouTube. I take a peek at people's numbers, and because I'm super insecure and I want to be number one, but also I just want to see like what the health of like the hobby is, because that's another way that you can kind of test it is how many people are watching hi-fi YouTubers right now. The point is, dude, you've had like 3 months of over 1 million views a month, those are big numbers, bro.
Yeah, I don't, you know,
Congratulations
well,
to you,
thank you.
Kevin.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Yeah, I honestly don't know what's really going on there except for, you
Maybe
know,
you're good at what you're doing. Maybe
you know,
you get so if you get 1 million views 1 month, that's one thing. You get 1 million views 3 months in a row, that's big leagues, bro. And
I'm a
you've done
baller.
that. You're crushing it.
Well, I do this. I think everybody that's in this, in YouTube does. You have to look at other people's channels, see what is connecting and what isn't, and then, I don't think anybody's blatantly ripping other people off, but some stuff works. That YouTube algorithm is absolutely real, and you got to kind of play the game. You know that. I mean,
Oh,
you
for
how
sure.
many, you're the OG.
No,
You
I'm
know,
not the OG. Like Ron, New Record Day's the OG, man. Like
yeah,
he's been around for a long time. But no, I mean, you have to steal. There's a book called Steal Like an Artist, where artists are obviously inspired by other people's
sure.
stuff. Um, so yeah, but I love watching your stuff because you it comes through that you love YouTube on your videos, and it's just it's been super awesome to see like you just go
Well, I'll tell you, I try and steal things from other genres too. I don't try and
yeah
steal them, I mean,
yeah
because
for sure
I don't watch a lot of audio channels. I watch some really. My YouTube history is really bizarre, but I like taking stuff from other genres that are working and creating engagement and stuff.
yeah.
What do you I know you're not watching audio channels. Do you watch any specific genres outside of?
Um, I do a lot. I like a lot of movie reviews, and
Huh?
then lately I've been watching. It kind of ebbs and flows.
Yeah,
Lately,
totally.
I've been watching like guys going out into the wilderness and like keeping themselves warm,
Oh yeah.
like outdoor
What-
guys and stuff like that. Those videos get like millions upon millions of views.
Totally.
I just get a kick out of it.
So like Mav,
Mav, I don't know
you
him.
watch? Oh, he's from Iowa. He cruises around, goes and stays in like really absurd places in a van
Oh,
and
I
eats
haven't seen
beans
that.
and stuff. Oh, okay, okay.
Um, I've been watching a lot of stuff on like Tesla EV vehicles lately because
Yeah.
I got a Tesla, and
What'd you
then
get?
Model X. It's the big SUV. I did it for tax purposes, really. I mean, if
Yeah,
I'm being completely honest.
totally.
Um, what else do I watch? Um, I've watched a lot of stuff about the election recently, just because. I mean, that was kind of
Yeah, it's
front
good
and
drama.
center. It is. It's funny.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I watch all sorts of stuff. Camera stuff, although I haven't watched camera stuff for a while.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that's about it. I don't know.
yeah. No, I'm the same way. Whatever is currently my interest is usually a deep rabbit hole of
What are your last
YouTube.
10 videos you've watched?
Oh, geez. Lately I've been watching a lot of police interrogations, and I
Oh,
think those, yeah, I think they're really
oh
interesting.
my God. That makes me feel uncomfortable.
Well, some
Um,
of them do. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Adam
Um,
Savage, Tested. You know him?
oh yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I
yeah,
watch him.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Me too. I watch a lot of Wings of Pegasus. He's a guy in Europe that has been really turning the music world upside down because he's finding that like bands like the Eagles and stuff, the biggest vocal band of all time is using backing tracks. Don Henley is not singing live.
No, of course
And
not. Most of
well,
those guys aren't really.
well, yeah, I'd like to think some of them are,
I've been to enough shows that I've
Sure.
seen, like, especially those guys. There's no way they can hit the notes, man,
Well,
anymore.
I understand backup vocals. I understand that type of thing. But when you're a band like the Eagles and you're paying $800 to $1,000 to go see a live show, especially a vocal, band like the Eagles, I'd like to think that they'd at least they'd still be performing. But I'm
There
old
was,
school.
I think there was the Bee Gees. I can't remember, but it was so bad. Like he wasn't even moving his mouth at the same time as the. Anyway,
Yeah,
so what are your favorite stuff this year? What do you think is the? And I know you don't listen to as much stuff as I do, like new coming in, but
yeah.
out of the stuff that you've gotten in this year, what would be your top picks for 2024?
2024 amplifiers, advanced Paris all the way. I think they're killing it. Or that
Why do you think
Evo.
they're good? What do you like about them specifically?
Well, I think it's the price per, the value per price. You've got you've got a great build, you've got a great look, you've got a great price,
It's
and
garbage made in China, though, Kevin.
well, everything's made in China.
Just kidding. Go ahead.
Well, no, but it really
I'm
is.
kidding. I think
Yeah,
it's built really well.
yeah. And I think Cambridge Audio, that Evo one was insane.
It is, isn't it?
We sold a ton of those too. And Rob, our rep, called me up. He's like, "Hey man, I'm gonna send this to you. I know maybe it's not in your wheelhouse, but I just want to see what you think about it." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not really interested in it." And it showed up in this massive box. I'm like, "What the
Dude,
hell
it
is
was
that? What did
heavy too, right, man?
Totally, yeah.
So heavy.
I was blown. I was like, "What the hell is this? What did I order?" I opened it up and I set it up, and I was like, I mean, I'm still blown away. We've got one sitting over there, that we used to demo for people. And the amount of sound that comes out of that thing is unreal. And so I think that was a really good product. I think it was kind of a product that I don't think anybody thought would take off the way that
I
it did.
I almost didn't do a video. I almost didn't even like accept it. So it came
Yeah.
in, I'm listening to it. I think it's pretty cool, but I don't know how the audience is gonna receive it, right? It's not 2 channel. Dude, that video has done like well over 100,000 views, which
Yeah.
is atypical, especially for a product like that. I love
Yeah.
it. I actually just did 2020 best speakers of 2024, and that, it made it in because $1,500 is expensive. But if you think about, you're getting an amp, you're getting a streamer, and you're getting crazy speakers, and it's not gimmicky. Like a lot
No.
of that stuff that you get
Yeah.
just seems super gimmicky.
Yeah.
But however they did it, it just seems like I'm listening to a stereo.
Well, good thing they didn't stick a bunch of tubes out of the top of it. Dude, that's
I
when I
hate
go,
that, bro.
yeah, I do too, man. I know you do. I've seen
I hate it.
I do too. It's so silly. But yeah, that evil one. The only thing I wish it had a subwoofer output or a preamp out.
Yeah.
It kills me. It doesn't have a subwoofer output, even though the bass on that thing it's exceptional. To a lot of people, they probably wouldn't need it anyway. But it just
No,
seems like a
I
miss.
get it. But if you had a sub out, you could do, because I do wireless sub kits on everything in the living room, because
Yeah.
you could put a little wireless sub kit on there, stick a sub in a corner somewhere out of sight, and then
Yeah.
Bob's your uncle.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, what else do you like? So you like Advanced Paris. What do you think the difference between the Sonics, between like Advanced Paris, I don't know, A10 Classic, and I don't know, Cambridge Audio, one of their integrateds?
I think Cambridge is a little bit cleaner,
Mhm.
and that's just it's so minute to me. I do think the Advanced Paris has a little bit of a warmer sound to it, a little bit more nostalgic, and that could just be my eyes deceiving me, because when I
Sure,
look
yeah.
at it,
Yeah.
I see those tubes glowing, and it if I squint, it kind of looks like a piece of Macintosh gear. So,
Mhm.
but I wouldn't be unhappy with either, and I think I could get the sound I'm looking for out of both.
Yeah. The thing that I like about Advanced Paris is the Class A bias.
Mhm.
And then it's just old school. You got loudness on it if you want, and then you have tone controls. And a lot of the Cambridge stuff, you don't get any of that. So I love Cambridge. I think it sounds awesome, but I think with Cambridge, you have to get a little bit more intentional about speaker pairings and some other
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Whereas the Advanced Paris kind of just works with everything. I agree with
That's
you
a good
though.
point.
If we're talking just straight up like clarity, cleanliness, and like giving you what the artist intended, I think Cambridge is better.
Yeah, I agree. There's a
But
lot of colorization in the AP.
I think the AP is probably better for most people, just
Yeah.
because it's so versatile.
Yeah, and you're right though, but with the tone controls, loudness, everything that's baked into the AP, you can get a little bit of that warmth out of it if you don't
Mm-hmm.
like it. If you do
Yeah.
want to get it more, sterile or neutral or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
Otherwise, let's. I think that new Audio Technica LP70 is a huge win. Just because you know that tone arm is so much better. The cueing mechanism is so much better. And we're still talking about a $250 turntable. It's not something that, for a second room or for, first turntable. I think Audio Technica's owned that market for 15 years since the LP60 came out. So I think they're doing a great job over there. And I'm biased to the brands we sell because we don't sell everything. I kind of pick them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't just throw anything over there. I want to make sure it's a good product that our customers are going to be happy with. And those Wharfdales, especially, I'm more blown away with the Diamond 2 or Diamond 12s and the Diamond 12.2s than I am anything. They don't get talked about. I don't
Yeah.
know why. Have you tried
Well,
those?
yeah. I did a video on those. Well, when they came out, so I guess a year or two ago.
Yeah, probably.
Um, there was the 12.4s. I think were like on a crazy sale. Well, it hasn't been this year. They were $750 a pair, and that's a crazy speaker for $750. Anyway, we got Chris Feltman chiming in about China. Everything is made in China. It isn't true. Cheap System, Riga, Technics, Shget, Bose, Mcintosh, CSS. I don't know if Bose is made in.
Well, here's my point on
No,
that,
no,
though.
I get what you're saying, but Chris is coming back and saying there is stuff, and I agree with you. There's stuff made in Japan, there's stuff made in Europe, and there's stuff. CSS is a U.S. company, and their drivers are made in China. So I mean, you're DIYing Chinese drivers, but yes, Skit, Gishelli Labs. There's a lot of stuff that is made
Definitely.
in the U.S. But overall, I know what you are saying,
Well,
and when
but
we're
yeah, my
saying,
yeah, my point is more like, U-turn. It's assembled in the United States, but all those parts are coming from China.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Well, and
the,
the irony is too that the Chinese Class D amplifiers are using TI chips. They're using is a U.S. company. Granted, the TI chips are made in China, but it's a U.S. company. You have Infineon chips, which are German, I believe, or European. So, and then you have Japanese capacitors. You have a bunch of stuff that's actually being sourced from other companies. If it's a legitimate putting it in and then it coming over. I think the funny thing is a lot of the Chinese Class D amplifiers, if you look at ownership of components, most of it is not Chinese and it's assembled in China. Whereas if you look at a lot of stuff from, I don't know where Advanced Paris is getting their capacitors and stuff. That's a French company, but it's very interesting. It's an amalgamation of a bunch of different, and I think if we look at it just as, okay, made in China, bad, I don't think we're, I don't think we're looking at it from a high enough viewpoint, because even Chinese companies that make stuff in China use U.S. and European and Japanese parts. So it's kind of just you can't you can't just throw a dart and it hit one place.
yeah.
Anyway, that's just my opinion. Yo, we got
Well,
Ancient Alien 815, and dude helped me make one of the best videos ever.
no, what was it?
This class, if it was in arm's length, I would show it to you. It's this Chinese, made in China, Class A clone amplifier. And it was like a 40-year-old design or whatever it is.
Hmm.
That video did crazy. Did well over 100,000 views.
Yeah, I'm hoping when I slow down, when I hit 60, that is one thing I definitely want to do, is I want to get into the DIY speaker and tube building. There's actually a really good community here in Iowa, even for DIY speakers, where every year they get together at a hotel and everybody brings their speakers and their reference music, and people sit down and listen to them and kind of grade them, and they go over the build quality, the finish, and stuff like that. And I went to one of them, and it's a really cool community.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of people that are really into crossover design and building speakers and listening to music for a couple hours. I wish I had more time to do it, because I do think it'd be a lot of fun.
I think, yeah, I've messed with it a little bit, and this is before I even started the channel. I was trying to throw some speakers together.
Mhm.
It's a ton of fun.
Yeah,
It is.
I can't imagine it not being.
Steve Zeidman, the first super chat of the day, $9.99. Can't stay, but wanted to say hey. You know Steve, right?
Man, I'm terrible with names.
Oh, he's a nice gentleman from North Carolina. All right, what else you want to talk about?
No. Well.
Yeah, interesting stuff. Captivating stuff.
Well, everybody's been talking about, Bose buying Mcintosh.
Yeah.
Have you looked at the Mosmo stuff? The other companies that are being sold.
Yeah, I did a video about it, about just how, like, this is my opinion. This is my speculation. Anything that I say, I have no basis for it except for my own opinion. That was the worst acquisition that Massimo could have made. I mean, just absolutely terrible. They paid $1 billion for Sound United. You got some good names in there, like B&W. You got Marantz in there, but in no way, at least for my very ignorant knowledge of the industry, in no way was that worth $1 billion. And almost immediately, the board got upset. They spun it off into basically its own P&L so that they can get it off their books, because the profit was so low compared to like healthcare, right? So why is a healthcare company? I get it. Maybe they wanted some type of, from what I heard, pure speculation, was they were looking for something similar to a whole home distributed, like,
yes, I heard the same thing.
Amazon Alexa. I'd say it, otherwise she's going to start talking to me. Or like Google HomeKit or Apple HomeKit, whatever it is, right? Because they had Hios, right?
Yeah,
So,
that's what I heard too.
but Hios is terrible. I mean,
yeah, but
terrible.
What I understand is they were wanting the IP behind it from Denon.
Okay.
If there's,
I mean, what are you going to use it? That it's a perfect example of how disconnected people that are making these decisions are from actually, like, what it is they're buying. Anyway, go ahead.
Well,
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
No, not at all. No, but if it has the ability to do whole home in a different way, because there's some companies out there that sell streamers, you can't group them, and it's because of that IP. I mean, look at Cambridge Audio.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, you have Stream Magic. So if you're into that, if you want a whole home distributed audio,
you have to use Rune. We have to use Rune here in order to connect. If we don't want to use Apple AirPlay, we have to, in order to connect a Weem to a Cambridge to, using other, we have to go through Rune in order for it to speak to each other. So it becomes almost a language protocol.
No, for sure. But I'm just saying, if that is what they were after, I mean, they could have done it a lot cheaper.
I don't know that I don't know, but I did hear the same thing, that there was something about, that IP in Denon.
Anyway, their stock. I did a video about, like, their stock price and stuff like that. And obviously, it's not just related. Their stock price is not just related to their Sound United acquisition, but something that happened right prior to that was Sennheiser consumer division got purchased by a healthcare company too, and almost right after that, then it was Sound United got purchased. So there's a lot of kind of weirdness, a lot of similarities between those purchases, but
I'm just worried about Pioneer becoming a Victrola. Honestly, that's my fear of all those brands.
Well, that's Klipsch Group, Pioneer now.
Wasn't that part of that Massimo deal?
No, Massimo's,
Oh,
Denon, and Marantz, Pioneer and Onkyo are part of Klipsch Group, which is part of Vox.
okay. Yeah, there
Um,
you go. That sounds right.
and they're not doing great either, from what I've heard. I think any of these huge conglomerate, multi-layered umbrella companies are not doing well. So Sound United, Vox, I think is the two ones that most people would know the majority of the brands. Um, Now the Bose acquisition that makes a lot more sense because I mean Macintosh is the brand equity on Mac alone is just like through the roof. Bose is already a audio company. People could argue, well, they're a headphone company, but they're still making music. They're still making putting music from something into somebody's ears, whether it be
Yeah,
through headphones or whatever. But
that's what scares me even more about that. I think that the previous, they were bought by investment groups in the past. And now you've got this, another audio company in that's kind of figured out how to be profitable. Um, that's going to be taking over a company like Macintosh. I'm worried that the repairability and them supporting legacy product is going to go away because I can't see that being a profitable side of Macintosh. Making faceplates for amplifiers in the 70s,
yeah,
I don't think that's profitable. And so my fear is that, they're going to go in there and go, well, this formula works for Bose. We're going to put this on Macintosh. And, the way Bose does their service or repair of legacy product is, oh, that we don't support that anymore. We'll give you a 15% discount and
right.
upgrade you.
It could be.
Yeah,
It
I don't know.
could be.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
that's just my fear.
I would rather have Bose buy Macintosh though than another private equity group because private equity group is only there to pump it and then dump it and make a profit. At least, with Bose, it's going to sit there. If they mismanage it, if they destroy it, if they destroy the legacy, then it'll be a shame. But what would be cool is if Bose picked up like Marantz because I think right now Massimo is trying to sell Sound United as a group. Um, I don't know if anybody's going to buy it, but if they would spin off some of those brands individually, I think B and W would get picked up. I think Marantz would get picked up fairly
What
easily.
I'm curious, what is your audience demographic according to YouTube?
As far as age,
Yeah,
um, basically me. So 35, 65 is the meaty part of the bell curve.
35. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because I mean, I really do think a lot of this mix up, a lot of this changing of hands has something to do with, I don't know. I'm kind of worried. We're not seeing the under 40-year-olds come in the door very much anymore, and that's different.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
My viewership is Marco. Thank you so much for the €2. Thank you. Greetings from Texas and Iowa. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I think it's kind of reflective in the audience, and I think it's reflective, going to trade shows, and it's when COVID happened, and we were seeing a lot more of that age group. They're still coming in to buy records, and it's kind of odd. We'll hear, we'll have somebody in that 20-year, the 20s and 30s bring up $200 worth of records, set them up on the table, and then in the next breath, the next sentence, we'll hear that they're using a suitcase Crosley,
sure.
and I don't know if they're, I get it. I know that age demographic is struggling,
Hmm.
just like, the majority of people right now. So I don't know if that's it, or I don't know if they're just content with, Bluetooth headphones and a Bluetooth turntable. And, they're just not into the hi-fi, two big speakers and a system as much as we were. It,
Well,
it's
I
kind of
think that
scary.
we're on the tail end of this, right? So every house that we went into, our buddies when we were 6 years old had a hi-fi. Every one of them.
Absolutely.
So it was ubiquitous, right?
Yep.
Real quick though, I wanted to say, Daniel Walsh, any women? No. I have like, if you look at my demo, it's like less than 2%.
I was going to say mine's too.
And if it's less than 2%, I think it's some dude watching me on his wife's account by accident.
I will tell you this.
And then Chris Lewis is 27. Anyway, go ahead.
We do have some women that come in and they are die hard. It's like from what I've gathered, it's not as popular with women, and I think that's always been that way. But the ones that it is popular with, they're all in.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool. I wish it wasn't that way, but
this is not scientific in any regard. But one of the ways that I kind of do a litmus test or a heat map as far as what the hobby's doing is what do my patrons look like. And I will say over 4 years of doing this, I think we've had two, if not only 2 or 3 females. That's over 4 years, 2 or 3 female patrons. So anyway.
But it's the same. I mean, every girlfriend I've ever had, they humor me with it.
Right.
And my wife's the same way. I love her to death. And she's like, yeah, it's your thing. I'm not into it. And she doesn't expect me to be into the stuff that she's into either. So I get it. I mean, she's gotten to the point now where, she's kind of got her favorite pieces, her favorite speakers and stuff like that. Cause I brought 30 pairs home, and I'm always like, you got to hear this, get over here and listen. She's like, oh gosh, here we go again.
I don't know though. I don't know if we're looking at broad strokes, like this is one of those things where we have such a specific niche as far as this hobby. And then you have subcategories within the niche. You have home theater people, you have vinyl people, you have, digital people, of course. You have cheap people. You have people that are, into measurements. You have people that are not into measurements. I don't know. I think maybe the business as it is now is different in 5 years, but I have a lot of faith because we have companies like Skits, companies like Skylabs, companies like Emotiva, a lot of these companies that are independents now, and all of them, for the most part, are direct to customer sales, have absolutely crushed it and gained market share. I mean, you look at Emotiva and Skit alone. I mean, it's just amazing. Like you go into their facilities, it's something else. It's really impressive. I think that I think if you own a company or an audio company, or you're in the C-suite, or you're, CEO, whatever it is, and you don't love audio, I think those companies are going to struggle. I think the people that absolutely love what they're doing and are making a living from it will continue to take off. And a perfect example of that is the film photography. Like that business is fundamentally gone. It still exists, and the people that, and it's still healthy for the small people that are involved in it. But everyone that is involved with film photography, whether it be making film or developing it or using it, are extraordinarily passionate about the medium. And I think, I don't know. I'm talking on my rear end. I have no idea.
No, you're totally right though. And it's the same thing with Skylabs in general. I mean, I could pick out 100 products that would be way easier to base a business around. Nobody does this
right
for money. You just don't. I mean, that's why there's not more of them. Mm-hmm. If I didn't love going into that shop and playing with stereo equipment and hanging out with the guys and, just being part of it, that's the reward. It's not money. It's not financial. I could sell soap and do better.
Right.
But, and that's the reality of it.
Of course.
Same with, Shit and the other companies, that are coming up. If there's no passion, there's no drive in there, go sell soap. Yeah. Because damn, would that be a lot easier? Mm-hmm. This is insane. What we're trying to do, and that is keep up with this market that's always changing, especially with vintage. The margins are horrible. you've got huge. It takes time to educate the customers. You sell a bar of soap, it smells good, it cleans you, you're done.
Yeah, and then they
And
have to buy another one at the end of the month.
yeah, absolutely, it's perfect. Replenishables.
What was I going to say? I'm going to say one thing, or I'm going to read this and I'm going to come back. Dwayne at 70, if you look at him enjoying a nice beer. At
Sudsy.
74, I have seen many changes in audio, some good, some bad. The biggest drawback is not getting somewhere to physically seeing and hearing the equipment trade-off for reducing middleman costs. Yeah, I agree, but that is just the world we live in. I don't think that is ever going to get any better.
No.
One of the things I was going to make out, sorry, I was going to point out is there is always room in any industry, whether it's contracting or expanding, for people that are passionate. And I'm a perfect example of that. Like, I was just crazy about hi-fi. Now I do this for a living and I make a good living doing this. I mean, it has changed my life. You have companies like Fidelity Imports, companies like Playback Distribution, that are small companies. Guys are passionate about it, and they're bringing in products like Michelle turntables. They're bringing in products like Advanced Paris. They're bringing in TIAC, and they are crushing it compared to some of these other ones because they're passionate about it. And I think, if anything, right now is the perfect time to get involved in audio, whether it be from an entertainment standpoint, whether it be from a distribution or importing standpoint, or even a manufacturing standpoint, because it's almost too easy, because the competition just isn't hungry or isn't passionate enough. And I think that's the real irony about this, is even if we're in a contracting market, it's easy to be successful if you are willing to work hard and you're passionate about it.
Yeah, because
At
your
least that's,
competition's fatigued and they're over it and they're burnt and they've been doing it for so long that
or they
they don't
just,
want to.
or their heart's not into it.
Yeah.
We got JR, 279 Canadian. Consider selling any of the Cambridge or Sherwin Vegas stuff. Have you ever messed with
I
that?
love, oh God, I love Sir Vega. I've got a pair of
I mean, the new stuff though.
Oh, no. I haven't followed the company, honestly. I don't know really even what they're about anymore. They became so home theater oriented.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm wrong on that.
I think that ship is sailing a little bit too.
Oh, I do too. Absolutely.
Like, I don't know if home theater, I don't know how to say this, but there's some companies that are like home theater focused. You know, maybe I'll take that back. I don't know. I'd have to ask. I'd have to ask like someone like Dan from Emotiva, like what his sales look like compared to like multi-channel amplifiers versus like two-channel amplifiers.
Well, I used to install home theater. That's what I did right before I opened Skylabs.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Going into, yeah, we were doing $1 million homes every single day and putting in dedicated home theaters. I did Control 4, the automated remotes, all that kind of stuff. And even it was dwindling then, and that was 9 years ago. It went, a lot of people, it's kind of like a hot tub, how they become a holder for clothes.
So gross, man. Hot tub. The whole thought of a hot tub is just disgusting to me.
Well, that's
but I know
waterbed. That's disgusting.
Waterbeds are awesome.
I don't. Yeah.
But a jacuzzi, like on my back porch, like, ooh,
I'm down with that.
I know, but that's a Midwestern thing too. Like, if you got a jacuzzi on the back porch, you're rich, man. You got a pool, rich.
I had an inflatable hot tub there for a couple of years from Coleman, because I'm
like the camping supply place.
Yeah, it was green like that too. And it got up to 103 degrees. And I'd be out there on my deck and that thing just totally trashing it up. Don't care. Get coffee and a cigar. And
to your point though, there's not a lot of people, hey, how's the jacuzzi going? What new jacuzzi model are you?
I never invited anybody over, ever. That was mine. I think that's the difference. If you have a hot tub or jacuzzi and your intention is to have hot tub parties, that's different.
Thomas Dix, longtime patron, wonderful man. My wife loves music, has even performed in a choir for a well-known artist. and could give a rip about hi-fi. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
Appreciate you both.
Every musician friend I have, and I have a lot of them, they have the biggest POS stereo systems ever. They could care less.
Yeah.
And
Go-
I'm talking the majority of them.
Yeah. We're an interesting bunch. We're an interesting group of people for sure. Go back
Yeah.
to talking about home theater
Hot dogs?
installations.
Oh.
No. We're done.
Yeah, it
we're
was
done
really
with hot
slowing. It was slowing down then. You know, I mean, it really was. We were a gold rated Sonos dealer, and we installed tons of whole home audio, but the actual dedicated theaters were really slowing down a lot. And I can only imagine that's continued. I still talk to a few people that work at the place that I used to work for, and they said the same thing. It's mainly, you know, hanging TVs and sound bars now, and maybe doing a few rooms of whole home audio. But as far as like Control 4 whole home automation and dedicated theaters, it's just going away. We've had a lot of people come in that have theaters and are converting them to 2-channel audio, which is cool because, you know, they've got some room treatment in there already from when it was a theater, and they're wanting to go back to old school 2 speakers. And I mean, I don't have surround in my house. I have 2 speakers and my audio from my TV going through it. And I've been happy with that for, you know, 9-10 years. I don't need the center channel. I get good imaging with 2 speakers, and I'm happy with it.
So the funny thing is like I am into it. Like I am way into home theater, right?
Yeah.
Mine doesn't even work right now because I use it upstairs to switch things in and out quite a bit. And like, so when my girls have friends over to do sleepover or whatever, it's always upstairs. And the last time I changed some stuff in and out, like they went to watch a movie and I couldn't get sound out of it. Now I know if I would have spent 30, 40 minutes up there, I would have figured it out and got it out there. But the one gripe I have about home theater is then unless you get it set up and you just leave it alone.
Yeah.
HDMI issues always
Yeah.
plague everything. And so there's always a dropout. It's never easy. The girls want to watch something. It doesn't work. And I have to go up there and I have to turn everything off and they're listening to it through the TV. You know, that doesn't happen on a 2-channel setup, especially if you're like HDMI and you just leave it in the arc and you just don't touch it.
Yeah.
It just works.
Yeah.
And so there's got to be something said even for a guy like me who is like, does this for a living and is into it. And right now I have 13 speakers upstairs that don't work because, you know, I haven't gone back in there and figured things out. But,
Yeah, because you haven't updated a codec, or your HDMI is not in compliant anymore, or you know,
looked
things
at it
aren't
wrong, or you breathed on the HDMI cable wrong.
Somebody switched a setting on the remote on accident, and now you got to
Yeah.
go in there and figure out what it is.
Dennis Perez, $2. Thank you for the super chat, my friend. Thoughts on Samsung's Q990D soundbar? Unfortunately, my friend, I don't listen to soundbars very often, and I don't have any experience with those.
I don't either.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, brother. All right.
My TV, I've got a Sony that's got the panel is the sound. You know, it's got a transducer in it, I think. That thing sounds incredible.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if it's a QLED or OLED from 5 years ago, and I shock people when I put that thing on the TV sound.
So I have a big TV in my living room. It's like an 84-inch. I think it's a TCL. This is how much I'm into it. Like, I don't even know. I'm pretty sure it's a TCL. Almost positive. It's got a subwoofer on the back. Some weird. I don't use it, but it's got one. I mean, it still sounds like garbage if I can't get it to come out of the speakers. But I don't know. Maybe they're getting better. Who knows?
Yeah.
What else? 2 speakers and a sub.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you.
What else do you like that you've heard this year?
Man, I haven't heard that much, really. I really haven't. You know, besides the product.
Super Linton. Let's talk about the Super Linton. What'd you think about that thing?
I thought the high end was definitely better. I didn't give them a chance to break in, though. You know, I that whole break in thing is new to me. but I definitely believe it's real
It
now.
is. It's 100%. People will argue with me, and I'm like, anecdotally, my experience has been completely the opposite. And if maybe it is my brain just getting used to the sound, that could definitely be. But
Sure.
there's a guy that he's got a great channel, and he does almost exclusively DIY content. His channel's called Toids DIY or Toid DIY, TOID
Hmm.
DIY. And he's got a woofer that has been running, or it's like 4 or 5 years old, right? And so he does all the stuff. So he measures the speakers, gets the Thiel small parameters, gets all the impedance sweeps, all that stuff, right? So he has that one. He measured that speaker, and then he measured the same driver, and a new one, remarkably different as far as performance and how it sounded too. So
Sure.
I mean that's one data point with one guy doing one test, but I
Well,
absolutely agree.
no, I would.
Believe
Sorry.
in it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, the non-super lentils have changed so much. You know, they get played over there in the shop every single day, you know, all day long. And that is a completely different sounding speaker than it was when I first took it out of the box. You know, and coming from somebody, when I did the review on the super lentils, I literally realized at that moment that I hadn't purchased a brand new speaker since 1992. And so, you know, when people would say, well, it needs breaking, I'd kind of be like, you know, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no, all my speakers have already been broken in
Right.
because I buy vintage speakers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's definitely a new one to me.
Yeah. So do you still have the Super Linton, or they've gone back?
I sold the super lintons to a customer. I just didn't want, I don't have enough room to show both. So we keep the lintons here in stock. And if somebody needs a pair of super lintons, all over them.
Yeah. Very cool. Yeah. My first experience with break in was it was way before the channel ever started, and I had installed some Focal speakers in my truck. I had a Toyota Sequoia, right? Redid it, and this was like one of the last years where you could really put like a double din stereo in there. It was great, right?
Sure.
So I had a bunch of amplifiers in there, put some Focal speakers in there, and I was listening, and I was like, "Ooh, these have no bass." And I would go in there and I'd tweak the crossover, right? Because I had a subwoofer in there. So I'd listen to it, tweak the crossover, and then I would go back after a while and I'd be like, "Huh, I think I can sneak these down a little bit." And then I would, sneak that crossover down. So I went from I think crossing those speakers over at 110 hertz to being able to go all the way down to like 80 hertz. But it was over the time period of, a month or two.
Yeah.
And so that was the time I'm like, these speakers sound completely different from what they sounded like when I first got them. And there was nothing that I did different, right?
Yeah.
And it was just time. And then, and I don't think that's getting used to the sound. Um,
No, I don't either. I think, you know, it's a physical moving object, you know, and if it's, you know, if it is stiffer when you first get it, and all those vibrations and movement, it is going to, you know, relax a bit. I think just from being just being a physical product,
yeah.
right? I mean, it makes sense.
Yeah.
I I don't know. I wish I knew more about that stuff, you know, and maybe when I get to DIY, I'm an old man, I'll actually know what I'm talking about with that.
Yeah. Ever think of covering speaker maintenance? I don't think there's a lot to maintain on a speaker unless, you're buying a vintage speaker and you need to
Refoam.
refoam it or anything like that.
The only other
Or
thing,
if the caps go bad
ferrofluid.
or something.
Yeah, caps. Speaker maintenance, that's actually how I kind of got started, really, was, you know, recapping speakers is very, very easy and it's fun. And, you know, it gets you some soldering skills and you figure out, you know, you learn a lot by just the ordering process, getting them, installing them, and then refoaming speakers. I don't think there's, I bet 9 of the 10 people that come in to have their speakers refoamed with us, I look at them, I go, you know, you could do this. I'm not trying to talk myself out of work, but this is not a hard project.
Yeah.
This is a Sunday afternoon, a couple hours and watching a few videos. And, some people just like, I don't care. I don't have the time. I don't want to do it. And I'm like, cool, no problem. But it, speaker maintenance is fun, easy. Yeah.
When did you start your channel?
I started it before COVID, but
I mean, when did you start posting in earnest, like on a regular?
after COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe 2022,
Yeah.
I'd say.
What do
Yeah,
you think
COVID.
what do you think about it so far?
I love it. Yeah, I mean, I do. Um, it's intimidating, it's scary. It sometimes it's really brutal, It is. And
Like in
I
what
didn't
way? Brutal, huh?
People
Oh, are you talking
y-
comments?
yeah, comments and
Yeah.
that type of thing. And you know that going in, I knew that going in. But there are some days where I am not in the right frame of mind
Yeah.
to
Sometimes
look at comments.
yeah. Sometimes our skin is thicker. Some days our skin is thicker than others.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can tell if I'm not replying to a lot of comments, um, mentally I might be in a shutdown zone,
Yeah.
you know. And holidays they're kind of tough for me. I haven't had a drink since I was 28 years old. And I don't know what it is about people that, are in recovery. I don't necessarily consider myself in recovery. I'm recovered, I guess, but the holidays are rough. And I don't know why. It doesn't make sense, but they are. So um, I have to I don't know. I just have to check in with myself a lot, and some days I just can't handle the people's criticisms. But
Yeah.
it's part of the gig, and you just have to deal with it.
No, I agree.
Yeah.
I don't drink either. Um,
How long? How long ago? You quit?
um, well, this time around, it'll be 5 years at the end of January, but prior to that, I hadn't drank for like 13 years. So it was 2004, like when I wanted to stop drinking and I stopped drinking. And then I had a couple year period where I went back and drank, and then, I've been
Was
sober.
it was it almost instant when you went back? Just
What do you mean?
right. Well, were
Right
you
back
back
to
at
where I
your
was?
worst? Yeah, were you right back to your worst really quick, or were you able to
Mm,
manage for a while?
I kind of managed for a while. I didn't drink hard liquor though when I went back out.
Yeah.
And I'm in recovery, so actively in recovery. So I go to meetings and stuff like
Oh,
that.
good for you. Yeah.
Um, I guess the secret's out. People probably knew that already. Anyway, yeah, so I kind of was like I tried to manage it, and I couldn't even manage it, just drinking beer and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was about 2 years, and not to get into it, but
Yeah.
the family dynamic was a little bit different back then too. So it was it's just there's nothing good about it. Like I have to like constantly work on myself as far as like how I am interacting with the world, like
Yeah.
how I am, because I have a tendency to be really pessimistic and cynical.
Sure.
So a lot of that has to do with just the way I'm wired. But
Yeah.
constantly every day, I have to kind of check back in, like you were talking about, with
Yeah.
myself. How am I doing? Where am I at? And what is my thinking like? And at the end of the day, I can only change what I have control of, and I don't really have control of much,
But
except
keeping
for
a beer out of your mouth.
I can control that, and I
Yeah.
can control working out. I can control whether or not I'm, intentionally being spiritual. And I'm not talking spiritual like going to church, but I'm just talking about like taking a second and just understanding what is real and what is not real.
Sure.
And why am I allowing other people or the perception of other people's opinions or what is going on in the world to affect me like emotionally?
Yeah.
So
It's brutal.
it is, but it isn't, because like if I hadn't gone through that, if I hadn't been, a crazy wackadoo when it came to my drinking, I would never have had to take a look at myself as far as like how do I interact with the world and what are my core beliefs like going forward? Like what are my instincts? At the end of the day, if the bullets are flying, what's the lowest denominator? Where do I go? And then once I kind of took inventory and figured out, okay, this is what I do, this is what I'm like, what do I need to do to not do that? And then it's just a program. I mean, not to be cliche, but it's like, what do I have to do every day to be at my peak performance? And it's this, I apply the same thing to YouTube. I apply the same thing to a lot of other things in my life. It's like, okay, well, that's vapor over there. I don't need to be worrying about that. What do I need to worry about? I can change the way I eat. I can sit on my couch and surf Instagram, or I can go work out. I can complain, or I can sketch out a video, or I can listen to something else. You know what I mean? It's just like, I got to be really intentional about how I spend my time.
I think it does that too, man. You know, it's like when you spend that much time, you know, not being healthy in your head and your heart and everything, you know, when you do quit, it does make you really do a lot of internal thinking and, you know, checking and seeing actually who you are and how to be that person without all those escapes.
Yeah.
You know, because it gets real where you're like, okay, I can hide all these aspects about me with the help of substances. And then you take that crutch away
Mm-hmm.
and it is raw.
Yeah.
And, you know, I will never go back. It's not even, I don't even have to think about it anymore. You know, I used to keep the note in my wallet that listed out everything I would lose
Mm-hmm.
if I did go back to my old life. And I would constantly think about it. And then after, I mean, God, it's been so long now. I don't think about it anymore. And there's just nothing anybody could do or any event that could happen that would get my mind to say, you know what, that's a good idea. You can handle it now.
Well, so that's cool. I'm not there yet. And I've got to constantly be like, I've got to remind myself because I knew because I'd been dry for 13 years and like I knew what it looked like. I kind of remembered it, but I had this thing where I would forget what it was like. And so it was just one day I was on vacation. I'm like, I can handle this. No problem. I can do it again.
Oh, I'm glad you got back, man, because that's no life for you or your family.
No.
You know, and your friends, dude. That is brutal. What
No.
what that does to other people in your life.
Yeah, it was I don't know, man. I mean, everything I have today is because of basically the tenets and self-reflection and self-awareness. If it wasn't for all of that happened, I wouldn't be on YouTube. I wouldn't be doing what I do.
Oh God, no! I'd be jailed, dead, or you know, whatever. Seriously, no question.
Yeah. Anyway, we got lullabies. I appreciate the sobriety talk. I'm sober 24 years.
Good for you.
Good job, man.
Huge.
Awesome.
That's huge. It really is.
Lead Sled 01, $5. Wirehead still recovering from 12 years of high-powered painkillers myself. Man, those are tough to get off of.
Oh, man. Yeah, did that too. I did everything. I had a really good time. I will tell you right now, I've done enough substances for most people their entire life.
Yeah.
You know,
I was never really into anything else other than booze because I was in the Navy and we got tested all the time. And I grew up in small town Nebraska, so it's like I didn't have access to a lot of that stuff growing up as a kid.
Well, you were in the meth capital of the world.
Not back then, though. I mean,
yeah, it was starting to get there probably.
Yeah, I mean it ramped up when I left because that's when like farmers would get their catalytic converters, you know, torched off, and everybody's shops were getting broken into.
They're stealing the anhydrous from farmers to make meth.
It's terrible. Yeah. Buff $4.99. Thanks for sharing, Randy. You always have my support. Thanks, Buff. Yeah, it's a cool thing, man. Like I think I'm so glad that I had and continue to have the struggles that I have because I wouldn't have the life I have today without it. Like I think everybody should do some type of self-reflection. And
Absolutely.
but like it's one of those things like why would somebody do that unless they're forced to? Because it's not an easy thing to do. It's not a comfortable thing to do. And it's not a comfortable thing to think to try to stay humble and try to think that, oh, you know, my instinctually I'm bad or I'm off or I'm different than most people. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Yeah.
what else? What else do we want to talk about? Oh, we've been doing this for over an hour. Road to wisdom comes with life experiences.
Yeah, man, life's hard. It's all right. Just, yeah. You get
All
two
right.
choices usually, turn it around or keep going down the path you're on. That's about
Yeah, it's pretty easy to think of.
pretty cut and dry.
If you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get the same results.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, we've been doing this for over an hour. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I'm good. Thanks, man, again for having me on. It's always fun chatting with you. Such a good dude. And yeah,
Anytime,
yeah,
brother. Well, if you
no
guys
doubt.
aren't subscribed to Skylabs Audio, make sure you go over there. Dude is blowing up. 1,000,000 views a month for 3 months in a row. You're crushing it. You're the guy, man.
Ah, yeah.
Dude.
And yeah, I guess for some reason, it's resonating with people. I appreciate it. I mean, I love it. I do.
Yeah.
It's great.
Well, keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Yeah.
Everybody, make sure you're subscribed to my channel and to Skylabs. I've got a bunch of content coming out. December, I'm really pushing hard, so tons of videos coming out. You got some cool videos coming out?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I like them.
No, they're terrible. All right. Well, everyone have a good week. Bye. 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 Bye.
Later.
Bye.
Thanks
Bye.
for watching.